Welcome to the Restoration Domination Podcast, where you learn actionable advice that moves the needle and helps service-based businesses dominate. Here's your host, Rico Garcia Jr.
What is going on, Dominators? Rico Garcia here, back again with another exciting episode. And Alvaro, man, thank you so much for jumping on the show. And listen, man, are you ready to help us dominate?
Oh, dude, we're so ready to help you dominate. I'm so excited.
In honor of you know, what the theme is, and obviously how much of a fan I am of the one Tom Plumber family, I wanted to go ahead and do a podcast here today, you know, fully geared up in full pink.
Love it, dude. You get that one at the show?
I did.
You were the national Pink Plunger expert, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's a good fit. Looks good on me, I think.
Actually, it does look.
All right, man. Cool. So let's dive right in, man. There's been so many, cool and exciting things that we've been talking about over the past several months. But before we, kind of dive into that, I wanted to go ahead and for those that maybe this is the first time that they're seeing you or hearing you, give them a little bit of context. Like, who are you? How did you get into the industry? What are you doing now?
Well, it's a funny story the way I got into the industry, but my name is Alvaro Leal, originally born and raised in Spain, moved to the States about 10 years ago now. One of the directors of business development, coaching, and events at Tom Plumber. So I am part of leadership and helping bring in more locations and create this amazing network that we're putting together as the fastest growing plumbing franchise in the world. That's how we like to call it, and that's who we are. Fun fact, the reason why I got shifted into this industry was because of a dear friend of mine, Ben Grunstein, that he also is part of Tom Plumber. We went to college together, and he's Rocky's Hensley nephew, as probably a lot of people have heard about Rocky in this industry, and they wrote me in. They were like, dude, we're trying to build something really cool. I think this is going to be a new generational franchise for the industry, for plumbing, where we're bringing young people in and like-minded individuals like yourself. You got to come in and check it out, and I did. Fell in love with the concept, fell in love with the people that were putting this whole thing together. Angie, Mike, Leah, and all these folks that I work with. And I fell in love with the whole thing, and it was a no-brainer for me.
Yes, I feel. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but there's definitely this magnetism about just the brand and what it stands for. And I think it hits different people on different levels. So for me, and again, I've said this publicly many, many times, the first time that I had Rocky on the show, I didn't really have like any context. Yeah, I knew about one Tom Plumber, but I didn't really understand what it was about. Wasn't even really sure. I barely heard anything about Icon. But then, I get Rocky on the show, and prior to hitting the record button, I get some context about what's going on, this and that. And we did whatever that show was, which is an hour and a half. And we probably spent another hour afterwards because I was asking questions, and, I was just so pulled in by how methodical everything was from a business perspective that I said, man, it was one of the only podcasts that I got up and I was like, man, that was really, really good. These people get it. How many franchises were there when you first jumped on? Yeah. So this is super early
on. And it was a concept that was developing. Obviously, it's a new business. We started franchising 5 years ago. You don't see that. Usually when you open a new business, you have no idea that what you're going to achieve in the future. But one of the things that I saw early on, I was like, I don't know how many locations this company is going to get in the future, but I see the potential of this becoming something very unique and new because it added a new, fresh look to the plumbing industry, which desperately needed a new look. The pink, the freshener of the colors, of the branding, of how friendly it is to the customer, and especially to the most important customer, which are women.
Because there's so many different ways to look at this, right? You could be like, oh, well, does the branding, and the aesthetics and the colors really, really matter? And some would argue, hey, that's that's your first impression. That's a very first thing that they see. Some would say, hey, look, the brand is made through the service and through the friendliness and through the systems. How much of an impact do you think just if we remove everything else and just simply look at the branding, how important is that?
It's absolutely so important. Everything is about impressions, and how many impressions it takes for a customer to remember a picture or an image or a logo. And we were able to accomplish that within just a couple impressions. Customer will remember that Tom Plumber, the name is the phone number, and they will remember the Pink Plunger. everybody else just has the classic male figure, the wrench, the plunger, like something really cool. And it is quite funny and very interesting, some of the studies that we did, because we wanted to dive deep into the customer's minds
Hmm.
and is the customer more attracted to, like what is going to create a better impression. So that's why, a fun fact, the reason why there's an angle on our plunger which is 45 degrees, some of the consultants in branding were telling us that the reason why things are diagonal is going to create a better impression because it feels odd, it feels off.
Hmm.
So they're going to be easy to it's going to be easy to remember. So there's a lot of things that were added into our name, or I don't want to spill out so many secrets, but it's quite interesting for the people that have come here for a Discover Day and have heard our story about how the name came up, like when we purchased the phone number and things like that. It's a really, really interesting story.
Yeah, and that was exactly the type of attention to detail that I had this conversation with Rocky, and then obviously with other individuals at One Tom, yourself included. You're like, wow, of course, like you have to measure everything. You have to bring the pros in to ask the right questions to see. It's that small little competitive advantage that most people would just blow off. But you know, at One Tom, what I felt happened was there was a pause and a stop at like every stage, and there was no detail that was too small that was just left to chance. Like there was literally everything was gone through with a fine tooth comb to kind of finally create what now is One Tom Plumber. And I mean, how many franchises are you guys up to now? I mean, I know that at the expo, which was actually great, at the expo, you guys signed how many new ones?
We had 3 new ones at the expo.
Yeah, which was a great, like, the franchisees that were already there, they were like all for it. Everybody was like cheering and just kind of welcoming the new people on the block, and I just thought it was great. I thought it was great timing to have that done right there at the expo. I thought it was great.
But it was awesome. And right now, matter of fact, we just got back from New Jersey. We just signed our 110th location,
Nice.
the United States. So super excited. We have 7 more to sign before the end of the year. So we'll finish the year strong and jumping into 2026 with a lot of people that are ready to jump on board with One Ton Plumber.
That's awesome. So, talk to me about the journey for you and the transitions that you've seen, and because I've got my reasons, I've voiced my reasons as to why I think One Tom Plumber is been so successful, and you know why I think that for so many restoration contractors that have actually gotten out of their own way and decided to go the One Tom Plumber route. I mean, it's been an absolute godsend. It's this, again, this bolt-on style business that not only generates its own revenue, but is this great conduit of new business that normally you weren't getting. So those are like my main reasons why I love it so much. But again, from 3 franchises to over 110 and growing, you've seen some transitions along the way. Talk to me about like those early stages to now. What's that been like for you personally and the One Tom Plumber franchise?
I mean, obviously, it's a huge difference between when we started franchising 4.5 years ago to now, because there was no structure whatsoever. I mean, you met Rocky,
Mhm.
such an amazing individual, like generous with these, eager for growth and expansion and this entrepreneurial mindset. So we had to figure out things as we go. That's what we did. We put an idea and a concept together, and we all worked together and trying to figure out and fail forward. It's one of
Mhm.
the things we love to say. We fail forward, and then it's how we achieve success. It was completely different because when we started, we didn't know what we were getting into. We opened a plumbing company because the main reason was to just control the lead since the beginning and refer all these new water work to our restoration business.
Mm.
And that was it. No intent to franchise it whatsoever. But once we saw what we had, is when we were like, okay, I think other restorers should take advantage of this opportunity and bring this concept to the restoration business and bolt on a new plumbing company to control the lead since the beginning. So there was the OG stage of One Ton Plumber where a lot of people loved the idea, the concept, and they started buying franchises. And we opened up 10 to 20 locations and it was going great. But obviously, we were new. We didn't know what we were getting into.
Mhm.
But then there was a stage of like, okay, let's hire a well structured and developed team that is well versed in franchising, well versed in operations, in owning business and managing those, as well as creating sales teams. Let's invest all of the resources that we can to give the support that our franchisees need. Because another thing that I love to say is that our fortunes are tied together. The more successful our franchisees are, the more successful we are. So we want to invest in resources for them, and then you see the stage that we are now, after investing all the stuff, that is a way smooth transition when any new one Tom Plumber comes on board, and you see the success that they're having because of the brand and the support that we offer these franchisees, as well as kudos to every franchisee that comes on board because they're first of an amazing fit in terms of personality. As well, they already run a successful restoration company, so they know how to put systems in place and they know how to operate them, so makes it pretty easy.
Yeah. So, what, when you, obviously you've had so much contact with, guys and gals within the restoration arena that have kind of taken on this model. Every one on one conversation that I have with owners of a restoration company, regardless of like their size and how much their total revenue is, and the story is always the same. At some level, it's like, hey, we'd love to get more commercial work, or hey, we'd like to, break a little bit more into the residential side. Like there's always some variant of those two things. So even for myself personally, I'm like, hey, look, if that's like part of the solution that you're trying to do, have you thought about this? Or like, it's surprising still, like how many one-on-one conversations I have with people, and they're like, oh, who? Like what? Like one time, what? Like, so that still tells me that there's so much room for growth. But then there's also this, for some people, they have this undertone of like, man, oh God, it's like another business. I'm trying to figure out my business. What's that experience been for you guys and for your franchisees? What's, what are their main concerns? And then what is it that they see that says, okay, I can put these concerns to rest, and this is actually like a good move?
Absolutely, because we've heard that so many times when we're talking to people are like, well, now do I have to open a whole new company to get some leads coming my way for the restoration company? I'm like, yes, but it's not just a few leads coming in your way. You're generating a new sales machine that is gonna not only less seasonal revenue stream coming your way because you're not chasing storms, you're not chasing anything. Everybody needs plumbing every single day, whether it's a residential building or a commercial. Everybody needs it every single day. And the demand for plumbing, it's ridiculous. We get, I mean, here in Cincinnati, you've seen how many calls we get a day, and all of our franchisees that you've spoken to, like they're busy every single day. I mean, fun fact, I mean, they're covering shit of how much work they have. And or it could have a better expression, but it's the systems that we have in place.
Hmm.
It's how well structured One Tom Plumber is in terms of the support, the onboarding process, the checklist, and the systems that we give out when they open the company. So they think they're alone, and
Hmm.
they're not. We've heard from other franchise networks that some of their franchisees, they did not receive the support that they were expecting to. They just bought into a brand, and the rest was for them to figure it out. Here's the thing: Rocky has owned franchises in the past, and he felt the same way. He bought up, he paid the franchise fee. He just got the name and the brand and nothing else. He got no support, so he said, "Hey, now we have a franchise network. Let's
How
give
can we
him
do it
more."
better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's always about lessons learned. What can we do better? How we can become not the biggest, but the best franchise network out there, and give the support that our franchisees need. And you've talked to some of our franchisees that own previous franchises, and the difference on support that One Tom Plumber offers compares to the others, it's abysmal. It's so big the difference because we are invested in our franchisees 24/7.
Yeah, and that is a common theme with, and I've spoken to so many people on the one Tom side, not just corporate, but like actual boots on the ground, the people that have bought into the franchise. And the common denominator is the kind of support and the openness that the brand has with its people. It's like, hey, like we are legit. There's not, I've heard, I just recently interviewed one of your franchisees, and she said, she's like, yeah, there's not like an hour of the day where I feel apprehensive to like pick up the phone and just make a phone call if I'm stuck on something, or if I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. And as a matter of fact, I think that she mentioned on the show, which if you guys, whoever's listening out there, it should be the episode prior to this, will probably be released around that time. And she like broke like the sales records for, first month sales. So I mean, talk about like hitting the ground running, on the business. And part of that, she said, is very clearly because of the support and all the training and everything else that you guys offer. So that's a conversation that you guys are consistently having, right?
Yeah, every single day because they ask for it too, and we need to be there to give it out. And one of the things we do here at One Tom is because we're seeing that we're gonna have a huge growth for next coming years. We hire in advance. Right now, there's some franchise business coaches that we might not need at the moment,
Mhm.
or some marketers that we don't need, digital marketing team, employees, etc. But we want to bring them on early on, train them up, so then when we actually need them, they're ready to go and help our franchisees. So we hire in advance before we need people.
Yeah, that's so important, man. There's so many people that like wait to like the bitter end, right? It's like you got to be hiring. You got to be like basically like that is a prospecting thing. Like that's a prospecting part of the business is like trying to get the right people into your organization. Which I think this is like a great segue. Talking about like getting the right people and who the right individuals are. We know what you guys are doing, kind of on you know on the corporate side, as you just mentioned, but you guys aren't just signing on is as crazy as this growth has been. You guys are not signing on just like anybody who fills out an application, has a check to stroke and says, I want to be part of the One Tom family. So what exactly is it? Like, what's that characteristic? What are the stats? Like, what are the benchmarks that you are looking for in a franchisee?
Oh wow. I mean, that's a great question because you're right. There's times that we have turned people away because we didn't think it was going to be a good fit. They came in, they had successful operations that were running. But one of the things that One Tom Plumber, and I think this is part of why we have such a great success in this network, is because every individual that comes in to buy a One Tom Plumber franchise gets along with everybody else. They have a great personality. It's people that you want to hang out with them. It's people that I can leave my office and go get dinner, have a great time, go have a drink, or just go for a walk and get a cup of coffee and enjoy like a couple hours of their time. Is one of the things that we preach. We want people because we work with these people every single day.
Right.
The digital team, the operations team, the finance team, everybody. So they want to work with people they get along with.
Yeah,
So it's one
100%.
of the things that we focus on.
Is just that camaraderie, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean that was evident when I was there at the expo. It's evident like how well everybody gets along, and you see like people just like talking, and everybody's kind of like going in the same direction. Like everybody's number one question and concern. It's like, hey, how do we get how do we get a little bit better? How are you doing this? And obviously, there's like franchisees that are just coming in. There's franchisees that have been there for a while, and there's no gatekeeping. There's no like nobody's like holding like a special thing close to the chest. It's like very open and saying, hey, look, this is what's working for me. And they're sharing that information. I think that is like this common denominator across like all franchisees at the current moment. I want to talk about like how you guys are still like with restoration contractors, right? How are you guys getting a lot of those individuals like still knocking on the door, filling out the applications and trying to get part of the One Tom franchise, or trying to get a piece of that pie? Or have you noticed that like other industries or just solopreneurs that are just demonstrating a little bit more interest in the like who's like your number one people right now? Still, is it still the restoration contractors?
So water mitigation owners, restoration owners,
You
for
think
sure.
because that's because they get it, they're like, yeah, this is like the one thing that we're trying to fix is how do
They
we get
get
more
it.
commercial deals?
They get it. They understand it, which is very important. But one of the things I want to Plumber has been booming. Like over 100 locations, we already just surpassed the stage on franchising that not a lot of franchisors have the opportunity to do. So there's other people in this industry, like whether it's in the trades industry, like electrical, HVAC, carpet cleaning, and even some entrepreneurs that want to open their own business and
Mhm.
they see that plumbing, it's a great opportunity and a good fit. Now whether they want to start their own independent company or they want to do it with a well recognized brand with systems in place that can help them build it up and running very very quickly. So we're seeing traction. The matter of fact, our newest franchisee, kudos and congratulations to Rodrigo in New Jersey. He doesn't own a restoration business.
Mhm.
He has he's had a career in business, and he thinks this is the right fit. And we believe in Rodrigo, and we give him the opportunity to join the family and start all over. And then we have a couple of franchisees that don't own any other businesses.
So what was it? What was with Rodrigo? Like, what was his? I mean, obviously coming from business and then looking at the One Tom model. I mean, look, the data is there, the stats are there. Forget about One Tom for a second, right? We're not even talking about that. Just like the trades, whether that is HVAC, plumbing stats, and like what that growth is expected to be like over the course of the next 5 years. I mean, that if you look at the numbers, like they're staggering, right?
Now we're
So
talking.
I'm sure that anybody in in business looking at this says, hey, you know what? especially with everything that's happening with AI, there's going to be a lot of businesses that
Right
get
away.
affected. And plumbing is one of those things that, yeah, that's not. I'm not saying that at some point we're not going to have some robot that's like, AI, driven, that could probably do some basic plumbing work. But as a general rule of thumb, I don't think that that's like a number one concern now. So
We're not even-
what was that like selling point for him? Like, because I'm sure you guys had like some kind of intake conversation. It's like, hey, tell me why you really want this. What was that? What was that, story for him?
because having a restoration company is just a perk, like
Hmm.
having the one plumber. Because outside of just having a standalone that brings in revenue, it's like a good business, a lucrative business. It
Right.
works. We've proven it. It's a business model that it helps you grow and bring money home. If you have a restoration company, now you can bring even more because you refer those leads and need water losses jobs to your restoration company. Boom, mind blowing, like it works. But it's also a standalone business that works very well. And you can put in a lot of effort and all your time on it and grow it and create like an exceptional operation with like 30, 40 trucks
Hmm.
and bring in a lot of revenue a year. That's what caught his interest. And the interest is because like you and I have talked about this with AI and things taking over. And one of the things people don't realize is the trades is where it's at in the next 20, 30 years.
Hmm.
It's gonna be at. Like people that go to business schools or whatever. Like myself, I went to business schools and they never talked about the trades. I heard about it because of Rocky
Right.
and how everything was drifting into that direction.
Hmm.
The younger generation now are starting to realize that that's where the money is going to be at in the next 20 to 30 years. They always had that look about the plumbing or restoration, it's a dirty industry, like people are not educated. And I'm like, that is just one of the biggest lies I've ever heard in my
Yeah.
life.
Did you ever get? I mean, maybe this is like just in the Latin families, or I don't know, but like for me, I grew up hearing like every time I would be, driving in the car or like and we would pass like a construction zone or a couple of guys working. Like my mom or my dad would be like, "See, that's why you got to go to school. If not, you'll be that guy." And then I like grew up and I realized I was like, "Yo, that guy's probably making like six figures." It's like so I think that finally people are starting to create that shift. And one of the things that we did talk about that and I'm glad that you kind of brought this up because it reminded me of what we had spoken about was how much that stigma, like that image has changed over the years, right? Like that guy in the truck, that just has to do plumbing because he has no other skill. Like for whatever reason, most people have that image in their mind. But now we're starting to see organizations just like you, right? Where it's a clean, polished look all the way through. I mean, the branding is on point. The training is on point. The technology is also something that is heavily involved in, a trade like plumbing. That's a huge difference from what it was just what? I mean, even if we go back, what, 10, 15, 20 years
15
ago?
years now.
It's not that far back, right? So like I think that a lot of people now are looking at the trades in a totally different light. They're not saying like I'm doing this because I have to, because no one else will hire me. It's not like that thing at all. Like this is like a real business opportunity and not just to like do like six figures. I mean, you can make millions and millions of dollars, which is insane.
I agree. And then you get to go to these trade shows in the industry, whether it's restorations or now there's like this big plumbing show coming in Indianapolis, the Wet
Hmm.
Show. I heard of it.
Hmm.
They're so polished and the thing is changing so much and it's not seen as it used to be seen 10, 15 years ago. And I saw that when I was starting looking into it because I always had in the back of my mind, like what my parents told me, okay, you go to school, you got to go to business school, become a lawyer. Screw all that stuff.
Hmm.
Okay. People that are in business, I don't care how I'm perceived as. I don't care how people look like. If there's one goal, and obviously is be nice, be kind, be generous, help other people out, and create wealth. And
That's
I
it.
think this is the industry where it's going to be at. And one of the things too is the younger generation is starting to realize that, and they're coming in, and there's very educated people with a lot of smart and creative ideas that are going to make this a really, really, really freaking good industry to be part of.
100%. I mean, that's what's really exciting. And I know that we were kind of talking off camera a little bit about this, about even like how involved like the one Tom Plumber brand is and plans to be with regards to kind of perpetuating that like trades message. I mean, as a matter of fact, I told you like go run out and you had this shirt. What is it? It's called the one Tom. What is it?
I have it here, the Pink Plunger University.
Pink Plunger University, which is absolutely great. Because I was like, we were like spitballing for context, all you dominators out there. We were just spitballing. I was like, man, it'd be great, like, boom, 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 boom. And I just like out of the blue, I'm like, yeah, like Pink Plunger University. And Alvaro's like, what did you just say? I'm like, yeah, like Pink Plunger University. He's like, hold on, I'll be right back. And he runs over to the other office and like pulls out a shirt and it says Pink Plunger University. I was like, that's amazing. Like that's great. Like you guys are already like there. Talk to me about that. Like what are some of the concepts and ideas that you guys are implementing to do outreach and, reach out to more women entrepreneurs, to reach out to like the younger crowds and trying to get them into the trades and just say, hey, look, like this is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, we do it constantly on social media. We show the benefits of what it's like to be part of the trades, especially in a plumbing company. But you don't just have to be a technician. You don't have to be just a plumber or whatever it is. Like there are huge operations put behind. There's a lot of things to do with marketing. There's a lot of things to do with sales, with operations, a lot of HR, finance. Like we build a huge operation. So there's a lot of opportunity for other sort of things to do, not
Mhm.
just become a technician.
It's not
I
all
mean,
about the wrench. It's not all about the plunger. Right.
you have to get all these commercials accounts. You got to build partnerships. You got to get all these commercial buildings, properties that you want them to call you every single day. You got to build those relationships. So there's a lot of roles that need to be filled in order to run a successful plumbing company. You got to have your BDRs, your sales teams, your sales managers. If you have a well put together organization, your ops manager, your dispatchers, your HR, your accounts receivable, and
Yeah.
it's a business. There's a lot of opportunity there. So we promote that there's far more than just owning a plumbing company. You're giving the opportunity to a lot of people to be part of something unique that is lucrative and it's going to help them out with their careers. There's a legit career to be built with One Tom Plumber in every location with headquarters and what we're trying to put together and accomplish in the United States and Canada and hopefully in other countries in the future.
That's amazing. I love the long term goal, and if history has taught us anything as far as like how you guys have grown as quickly as you have, I think that that's not going to be an issue whatsoever. One of the things that I always feel that is in the back of a lot of restoration contractors' minds is, regardless of the stage that they're in, there's always a growth stage, right? Either that, or you're kind of at a stagnant stage where you finally hit a number. Maybe typically for most businesses, it's like that $3 to $5 million number, generally speaking, right? And they've got the restoration company and now they're kind of like bottlenecked or they're stagnant. They're like they don't know really like how to get to that next level. And when I talk to some of these people, they say, hey, I mean, it's just like another business, right? And I know that we constantly like talk about this and we go back, but what I want to address, and I want to get your take on it, is how is it that a busy business owner in a restoration arena that's making him money, right? It's trying to grow, but is stuck, overwhelmed. I probably got a lot of the same issues that a lot of other people have, which is like, hey, I have a hard time finding good people, good personnel. Like now all of a sudden, I'm going to try to find personnel, not only for my water mitt side, but then also you're talking about a whole new business. Talk to me about that transition. Like if it was just you and me talking, like how would you like get me out of that negative mental loop to tell me that it is in fact possible?
With adding the One Ton Plumber
Correct.
to the restoration. I mean, we've had several restores that being in different spots. I mean, in different stages. People that are making there's 1 million water mitigation to the 3 to 5 mark to the 5 and 10 and 10 plus. And one of the things that we've encountered and that we've talked to these people is certain restores are making $10 million in revenue, but they're bringing home a very tiny bit of that portion in EBITDA.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know why.
Let's talk about that. I felt like you kind of like pussyfoot around that. Like you didn't want to. Like,
No,
yeah,
no, I
it's a
just wanted
low
to
number, right?
I just wanted to say, yeah, I just wanted to say something before I turn around
Right.
because of what we've seen. But and here's the thing, and one of the things that we talk. I mean, you get stacked in that spot, making a certain amount of revenue. Maybe if you were to make a little bit less and focus on that 60% line that is bringing your profit jobs, that's when you're probably making less revenue, but you're taking home way more.
100%. Yeah.
And it's one of the things that we do and focus and teach with the One Ton Plumber business model.
Hmm.
One of the things why we focus on service work, on jetting, on drains, on excavation. We don't do recons or remodel for that reason. We don't want to make sure that our plumbers are stuck that doing the same work for a whole week. because we want to keep them on rotation and keep going for these high dollar ticket jobs
Hmm.
that takes just only a few hours to get it complete. So
Right.
that's a transition that we wanted to do. Take them out from a place where their technicians are stuck in jobs for like weeks or months or whatever it is, to do something that alternates way more quickly than the other ones. So it's a complete different business. So these people are constantly on the road. They're doing all their jobs. They're super quick. They're bringing those high dollar tickets. So there's always this rotation happening. They never see them getting stuck on a specific jobs, and it's over and over the same thing. Because one of the things with restoration is we chase some of these jobs,
Hmm.
and those are high dollar revenue tickets. And you might drive or even travel to different states to get some jobs done. So now with One Ton Plumber, you operate from within 30 to 45 minutes away from your location, and you're constantly is getting those high revenue dollar jobs that are done very quickly and bring him back on. So you're never gonna get stacked in seeing that expansion, because all you do is keep adding pieces to the puzzle, and that thing keeps scaling. Well, the restorations, like when you open a restoration company, you get a couple DQs, you buy a van, go do some work.
Right.
With the plumbing industry, it's far more different than that. There's a lot of pieces together that you need to put in glue and make sure they work out, and just keep scaling that business.
From a
We
cash flow perspective, sorry to cut you off. I'm just trying to figure this out. Like from a cash flow perspective, it's such a different business model, right? And one of the things that a lot of restorers talk about, it's like, man, it sucks. Like you're basically like a finance company for unless you're like 100% cash, which most companies are not. But most restoration contractors out there, they're doing a job today and they are floating the entire, not only the entire project, but so in some cases, 30, 60, 90 days once they're done with the project, because it's obviously insurance, billing, things of that nature. For a lot of contractors, that presents like a major cash flow issue. So I'm curious, from your perspective, how does having like the one Tom Plumber like bolt on business to that restoration, have you like actually heard or had any conversations about the effects of this cash flow heavy business model, which would be the one Tom Plumber, and like how that's alleviated, pressure from the restoration side or vice versa?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, there's a lot of residential work that it gets done with a one-ton plumber, so they pay upon completion. When the job
Hmm.
is done, they pay you, not accounts receivable whatsoever. You move on. So it's one of the things why we do a split between commercial work and residential work, and that takes some weight off their shoulders on the restoration. Because I heard of a lot of restorers that they have a lot of money, and I'm saying a lot of money is like millions of dollars in accounts receivable,
Hmm.
and haven't collected in almost like 6 months. And I'm like, what's going on? Or
Yeah.
even longer.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Obviously, you're going to have some accounts receivable with One Ton Plumber because you do commercial accounts, but they need you. Here's the cool part: these commercial accounts, they need you constantly, no matter what. So if they haven't paid you, let's say in a month, they're going to need you again. So they're going to call you, and then immediately, all of a sudden, I heard some stories. They're like, "Oh, now you have a credit card," because they're
Right.
going to call you again, and
Right.
if there's something pending, they'll pay you right away.
Right.
So it's such a smooth transition in terms of collecting payments by with the plumbing company, specifically with One Ton Plumber, because they need you so much that they pay right away.
And I also had a conversation with someone else, and they mentioned something that to me was really interesting, which is there's still like some insurance work that you can do with one Tom Plumber. At least it's what my understanding is. And their experience was it's like when you send an invoice to an insurance carrier and it is plumbing related, it is totally different scenario than anything related to restoration. In other words, and what I mean by this in the most clearest way, which is exactly what they said to me, which was you submit the invoice and whatever number is on that invoice, there's no haggling, there's no nothing. It's stroke a check, get paid. And like he was telling me that like he was like in shock at like how fast and how painless that process was. Is that something that you're familiar with? You've heard like, other franchisees talk about?
Totally, yeah, I hear it all the time, and especially in our location, they send whatever it is. After building those relationships with these commercial accounts, they know you, they need you so much
Hmm.
because they need to keep their tenants happy or whatever. There's a restaurant, and I mean they cannot shut down to stop doing business. So they whatever it is, they pay it. You're saving the day for them. They're gonna call you back tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking about on the insurance side though, like the insurance carriers. Yeah, like they're just like fast. It's almost like dealing
It's pretty
directly with the customer. It's just been like insane from what I heard. It's like because my experience with insurance companies has been obviously just solely restoration.
fast.
But they're like, yeah, if there does come a situation where again, because sometimes you have it, and they bill out the insurance company or whatever, it's like done. It's
Yeah,
just been absolutely
it's
insane.
such a quick turnaround radio. It's super fast, it's super easy, super smooth. They don't complain about it, whatever you put on there, because of that reason that you're doing such a great job and they need you that whatever it is, the insurance, boom, they pay, move.
I love it, dude. The main thing for me, and what I always try to get across to the listeners and the audience, is like how much of a like real opportunity this is. Again, we're solving this, one of the biggest problems, which is how do you get more leads? And even for myself on like the marketing side of things, and doing like the fractional CMO thing and doing all of this other stuff that I'm doing, I have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and I get to see the books and I get to see the operations, and I really ask the tough questions. And what I've noticed for a lot of organizations is that they're focusing on kind of like the wrong thing. And sometimes they're taking on a lot of jobs, and I think you kind of alluded to this. They're taking on a lot of restoration jobs that are a major time suck. They're not as profitable, but they're like, well, I kind of have to do this anyways because it's what's expected of me to do. And when we mention something about like, hey, you're like, how is it that you're willing to pay X amount of thousands of dollars to plumbers, right? Just to get a referral? Then go the opposite way and plug into a system that's going to make you a much more desirable plumber than the people that you were spending money with, right? Number one. And number two, even the way in which you are generating new business with your business development team, which is, kind of what I want to get into, how successful you can grow this business, like almost virtually from like day one. So talk to me about like this prospect magic, compared to restoration contractors and, basically what you guys have a monopoly on. I mean, I know that there's some other companies that I think are finally catching on to like
What's working for
what's
us?
working for you guys. And I think that they're starting to implement it, but it's night and day, that prospecting and how you're getting business. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I go into that, you were talking about the referrals, like how much they're paying all these plumbers.
Hmm.
You mentioned that, and I'm like, for us, because this is crazy, and that blows people's minds. Like for us, we were paying about $400 or $500 a referral here in Cincinnati. And for us, that was the end of it. It was like, why do we have to pay that much money for a referral?
There's
But
people
they
that are paying upwards of 1,000 and more.
in 1,500
Oh,
and
wow.
$2,000 in California, I heard.
Yeah, it's
Atlanta,
insane.
yeah, it's ridiculous. So
Yeah,
we're like, if people out there, you guys are paying all those referrals, there's a better way. Get a plumbing company. Just start
100%.
owning it from the beginning, control the lead. It's mind blowing. Like you see how many leads are coming your way.
And I don't think that I mentioned this, but it should be obvious, but I just want to mention it anyways. The restoration arena, the guys that are making tons and tons of money, at least a really big top line revenue number, normally are doing some degree of either like a lot of TPA work or they're doing commercial work, right? But there's not a single person, like not one organization that I've spoken to, regardless of what their top line revenue is. So if you're thinking about that big company, like whatever it is that's in your brain right now, I promise you that I've spoken to them and no one has ever said, I don't want more residential. As a matter of fact, most people say, yeah, I want to get deeper into the residential side because it's a, just different arena that they haven't been able to tap into. So the one Tom side on the residential, right? Like you're there. Now you've got an opportunity to prospect for future business with future follow-up. So instead of having and spending money on, let's say, your Google ads and whatever kind of advertising it is that you're doing, just to get a customer on, their water mitigation needs or the mold remediation needs, you're actually now, even if you're doing the exact same thing, you're paying substantially less per click. You're paying substantially less for like customer acquisition. But then what that's done is that now you've also kind of have like stocked your lake with like prime, fishing game, if you will, because now if you're doing things right, you have an opportunity to go back. right? And like keep those people in line, which I think is like another great like add-on when you start thinking about that, as opposed to just being like, your one trick pony in the restoration arena where it's like water, fire, mold. It's like, dude, how often do you really like have those main issues? So, okay. So kind of, I wanted to get that out of the way. Talk to us about like that prospecting game and how that's changed, just the landscape of how people are doing business.
Yeah. So first of all, I always carry one of these with me. This is a cheat code for one Plumber. The Pink
The
Plunger
Pink
is
Plunger.
this is our happy meal. This is our apple. This is us.
Mm,
This is what defines Wanton Plumber, which is the Pink Plunger. And the difference between restores and Wanton Plumber does prospecting is quite different, especially when you have those BDRs on the field,
mhm,
which are very, very important because those are the people that are going to sell Wanton Plumber. That's the way into commercial, and then they're gonna sell your restoration company. That's why every single one-ton plumber that we have, their salespeople, their BDRs, what they do is they have one-ton plumber on one side and the restoration company here. Whether
mhm.
it's like Coral Martin, kudos, and I wanted to say hi to her, and with Ty Waters and with Brian Mara and Rick McGuigan, awesome people and good friends in the industry, they do that. And when they go in, they have an easy sell, which is plumbing, because every single commercial property they need plumbing constantly every single day. You'll be amazed. I've went in and tried selling restoration. That thing is impossible. I mean, it is not impossible. It's really difficult because you go in, they're already using somebody else. They might call you only once or twice a year, and you're like there every single week, building those relationships, bringing in goodies, bringing marketing materials. You stop in there like multiple times a month, and you are like, oh my gosh, are they ever gonna send me some work?
Yeah,
Because
and it's not even that. And like the other aspect to that, it's that you're doing that, and so are another 4 to 5 companies doing that.
10 plus Serpros and all the other, because every time I was going, there was like, well, we're already using Serpro, Belfer, whoever it is that they
Mhm,
use it. And you're a local independent restoration company. So they're like, no, we already have national contracts with this company,
mhm,
whatever it is. We're not going to use you. So you feel like maybe it was a waste of time.
mhm.
But then go to the same properties with the one-ton plumber model. Mind blowing. They see you come in and they're like, wait a second, I don't have anything for you. It's like, oh, hold on a second, I have something completely different. I'm coming in with a Pink Plunger. Hear me out.
Mhm.
That's how plumbing needs. Immediately, like their face dropped. They're like, yes, we do. We've never had anybody coming in and selling us plumbing. What do you guys have? And then we have the things that we do, and we present everything to them. They love it. They love our trucks. They love the brand, and it goes back to like all these details that are part of One Ton Plumber in the brand. That is memorable. That everyone likes it. It's pink. It's friendly. It's a new look that now these property managers, which a fun fact, that most of them are women. It's
Mhm.
a woman dominated industry. They love our colors and our uniqueness. So
Right.
it's very easy to sell the plumbing. That's your cheat code. You go in with the plumbing, then you sell the restoration.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, that's like, to me, is like one of those like things. It's like, okay, well, once you crack something, right? And it's like part of the issue in most things, it's like, how do you get rid of competition? And everybody always talks about the same shit. It's like, oh God, it's like, what's your unique selling proposition? What makes you different? And even within the restoration arena, I've heard that so many times. It's like, what makes you different? Oh, you got to ask, better questions to these facilities managers. And that's really what they get. But dude, stop. No, like that's sure you could say that because again, you've got like, coaching to sell or whatever the scenario may be. And again, I'm not knocking anybody, but let's just like really be honest about this. You've got a fucking air mover. You've got a dehumidifier. You're doing the exact same thing. There is no difference. What, you have a few more trucks, a few more people. Like, ultimately, when you're speaking to like a property manager, like there's not this huge, oh, let's do like an emergency response plan. That's great. These are great resources. Maybe the other company didn't do that. But at the end of the day, there's really no difference between one organization and the next, right? Whereas, now you're going in, and even though there might be like a million plumbers out there, there's not a million plumbers that are knocking on that same door.
Hmm.
So that in and of itself, just that prospecting model, if nothing else, is completely different. And then on top of that, now you can stack all of these other like amazing things that one Tom has done. But just that one thing alone could be the difference between not making money and not closing sales to now all of a sudden getting many more at bats with the property managers, with these buildings. And now once you're there, like once you're in, that process from just being the plumbing vendor to now also being the plumbing vendor and the
Right.
restoration vendor, that gap all of a sudden went from non-existent to you're right there. You're just like one mess up away from like that other company, like dropping the ball or whatever the case may be. Or even again, maybe they call the plumbing aspect first for before they call the restoration company. You guys, your crew's
You're already
already
there.
you're already there. Yeah. So
You're
like
already
that
there.
transition is like so amazing. I think that people like miss that point.
Yeah, and it's to the going back to the perspective. It is, I agree. There's a lot of techniques like what you're doing different, whatever. I think that's a bunch of nonsense. To be honest, it's like, what do you have that they need that nobody else offers? It's as simple as that. I mean, you can say a lot of things. You can be the most amazing salespeople, but you have something that you're offering something that 10 others are doing the same thing and better. You can be like the best looking dude ever and have that Spanish accent like it. No, I'm just kidding. But and
Clearly, you're
you're
talking about me.
you do have a really good one. No, but I'm saying is what you have to offer that they actually need and they need it now, which is with the plumbing. And that's what we've done. And that has led us to be able, by doing this work here in Cincinnati and other locations, that they perform this such good of a job in these property complexes that are national recognized, like to have great like brands like Greystar or Kuzman and Wakefield, 23rd Group, etc. That now we are able to get national partnerships, and instead of using us here, they use us in Pittsburgh or Cleveland, New York, Dallas, whatever we are, because of the branding and how we've managed to get into those properties with the
Yeah,
plumbing.
that's amazing. I mean, so not only are like the franchisees like prospecting and they're going out there trying to hunt some big game as well, but even like on a corporate level, you guys are basically doing the exact same thing, right? Like kind of leading by example and just trying to get these like larger national accounts. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I found that was really interesting, which I know is not something that happens for a lot of people, is you guys had one of the breakouts or one of the people that you had on stage was actually like someone directly from Google. Not like a Google partner, but no, like directly, like an account manager directly from Google, which, again, these are like the plays that you guys are making, which I sit back and I'm like, wow, that's that's really a big competitive advantage to have like that direct tie with organizations like that. Right. So talk to us about like some of those like connections and like, like I said, like the Google guy that you guys had there and that partnership that you guys have struck up for your franchisees. Cause like your franchisees that are like on that front have really, I mean, they've seen some amazing growth. I mean, all of your location, even your newer locations. I mean, they were talking about like several hundred reviews. I know restores that have been in business for like 30 years. They got like
Yeah, we were
30
talking.
reviews. Yeah.
And it is crazy to see how like thousands and thousands of reviews that all these locations are getting, and they're 5-star rated. It is insane. Like, and that's why Google is seeing the success that Quantum Plumber is having in such just 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
They're like, what's going on? Like, you guys are breaking the system or something. And we have an amazing digital marketing team here at Quantum Plumber for headquarters that we support all of our locations. And it doesn't stop there. We go above and beyond. We reach out to Google. We ask Google like this, like what are the secrets? Well, how can we get better? And now we're on the second tier of Google. Like we're right below where Starbucks, Microsoft, Google, all those big companies are. We're one stage below as a plumbing company. And it doesn't stop there. We just don't want to be ranked second. We want to move to the next tier. So that's going to help all of our locations nationally. That's why, let's say in Florida, that we have a great presence. When a location opens up, the phone rings right away because we have that Google recognition. It's the same thing when a Starbucks opens in any location with 0 reviews, immediately goes on top of the list in Google. Immediately. Because they
Amazing.
know those algorithms
Hmm.
that that location is in a matter of months is gonna have the most reviews, the better rated reviews, etc. And he's gonna be ranked one number anyways.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with one Tom Plumber.
That's beautiful. Yeah, and for anybody out there, I'm assuming 99.9% of everybody listening has got a Google business profile, right? And understands the importance of just getting into that snack pack, right? Like this, that's which is the sweetest spot on the internet. If you're a business owner, right? Especially a local based business owner, those top 3 locations, that's like what, 80 something percent of all clicks, for any service based business. So having that, just knowing that by sheer association, especially in the beginning, like you're practically like almost like that you're going to end up there. It's just such a great benefit that, again, when you take into account and then you take everything else into account as a business owner, I'm like, wow, okay, it makes sense. Which is, again, one of the main reasons why I'm constantly wanting to have conversations with One Tom, because yes, the organization is amazing, but from my perspective, like, restorers have a real problem to solve. And they're spending a lot of time, money, and energy bashing their heads against the wall and trying to figure it out, right? I mean, hell, the reason why you're listening to this podcast, the reason why you're listening to shows like this is not because I've got the most soothing voice. It doesn't put you to sleep. I'm hoping not, right? Like, you're looking for a gold nugget. You're looking for a solution. You're actively looking for getting yourself and your business better, right? If not, you would be somewhere else on some other corner of the internet. Well, this is in fact like one of the best solutions that I've found for any restore. It just makes all the sense in the world. Where I think, and I want to jump back, and we kind of touched on this before, where I think the big disconnect is for most people. It's, God, I don't want to, because they're business owners, right? These are entrepreneurs. Like, oh, God, I want to work for myself. I want this to be my thing. Like, if I'm gonna build a brand, it's gonna be mine, right? Well, it's like, listen, like, genius, like, 100% of zero is zero, right?
Go try it on your own. That's fine.
Right. Which even like Rocky has been on, and he said, hey, you want to do your own thing? Hey, do the tour. Well, we'll be like open with you. We'll show you within reason, like, how you can kind of do your thing and figure, make all the mistakes that that we've made. Great. Go after it. Right. So I think that that's like a mental barrier for most people, right? Because we're, for the men out there, they're like the alphas, they're unemployable anywhere else. Like, they need to go ahead and call the shots. I think that's one thing. And the second biggest thing is the time constraint, the division of attention. It's like, man, I'm doing well on this side, but yeah, I'm still trying to get this to the next level, a whole new, brand new business. I'm not a plumber. I'm not this. I'm not that. How do we coordinate everything? How do we build this infrastructure? How do we, like, what are my price points? Like, all of these, like, where am I going to find new leads from? I'm struggling because you got to remember, like, people have a stigma, right? That they bring to the table, whether they want to or not, which is like, I'm struggling to get the quantity of leads on this business. How the hell am I going to do it for this other business, right? Even though they're totally different. So, I want to dive back into that, because if there's something that I accomplished with this episode, I'd really like to break the stigma of what's possible and show people that, in fact, like, this is a lot easier than what they probably imagine.
It is. And it's a matter of fact, and like Rocky said multiple times, I mean, the best way to figure out if this is a good fit for you or not is to come on out. Like, you're invited, come here. We'll show you our flagship location in Cincinnati, which you can talk to our owners, to our plumbers, reach out to some franchisees, ask them about their experience. But is that stigma that how well structured and prepared we are with systems, checklists, with the digital marketing teams. Like, we do all the digital marketing in-house for you.
I
We
want
build
to. I want to share. I want to share, and we're talking about like a quick little story, because I heard this the other day, and it was like so inspirational, and I just wanted to share it. And we all talk about like systems and checklists and things that are proven, right? And if you're a restoration contractor, you're probably thinking, hey, if I want to get better systems and better operations, then I'm going to find someone I'm not going to go to a plumber to figure out how to fix my business, right? So, have you heard of like the baby, intensive care unit and the Ferrari pit crew story? Have you heard of that? No.
actually not.
So this is like a really cool thing that I just found out about the other day. So apparently, there's this hospital. This is back in like 1999. And it's an intensive care unit, right? They're doing operations on babies. And from the operating room to the intensive care unit, they're, operations are going fine, but a lot of these, there's complications along the way. There's been some deaths, things of that nature, right? So there's these two doctors, I think it was like Elliott and Goldman, and they, just kind of sitting back one day, and apparently they're watching like a Formula One race, and they're like in awe of how fast the pit crew, Ferrari, changes out the tires, boom, boom, and just like, and there's like 10 guys like around this car, and it's literally like a blink of an eye. Just everything happens seamlessly, and then they're off. And apparently one of these doctors, probably jokingly, like who knows, made the comment, it's like, hey, we need to like reach out to them. Well, I don't know how that came to be, but what I do know is that they did reach out to Ferrari, and they took all of the videos of what was happening in the operating room. And in that moment, and you had mechanics, you had a pit crew, doesn't know anything about hospital, doesn't know anything about care. They don't know anything about anything that you would think is important, right? About hospitals and how to treat patients. And they sat there and methodically went through all of this video footage and saw all of the singular inefficiencies that existed. And what they were able to do is they were able to go ahead and create an entire playbook that they handed to the hospital and be like, and they had now defined roles. They're like, you need this person who is assigned to do just one task or these two tasks, and this is the order. And they did that. And all of a sudden what they saw was, there's some studies that say that they saw a 60% decrease in all of the things that were going wrong after they implemented this. As a matter of fact, it was so successful that the standard now in these scenarios in all hospitals is the standard that Ferrari put into place. So when you're talking about like these systems and how important it is to like identify these things, I think that story like really captures like how important it is for us as entrepreneurs, as business people, to be like, where else can I look that might have some of the answers that can fix some of the things that are currently, holding me back from being as successful as I could possibly be.
Yeah, and that was an awesome way to put it, because of going back to those systems, it's like what we help you do. Like, we are going to walk you through every single part of the way. You're not in here alone. Like, again, our fortunes are tied together. We're not just going to give you the brand and leave you hanging. There's so many things that we're going to show you and introduce you to that are going to blow your mind, that you're going to be like, oh, wow, I don't know if I would have been able to figure this out on my own. We're going to get you up and running in 90 to 120 days from the moment you sign on. You're not going to notice it. In a blink of an eye, you'll have your doors completely open to the public and you're in business.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm speaking to your Pittsburgh location, I believe, and spoke to him at the expo. And like one of his things, what he said was, "This is Brian Morrow. Shout out to you." He's like, yeah, it just actually made my restoration company better. It's like, I was okay, I was good, but it actually made my restoration company a little bit better. Like, it just, it opened my eyes, and it also kind of like gave me like a nice little quick, swift, kick in the butt. And it just kind of like reignited, the excitement and the motivation and everything else. And, so there's so many like cool stories that I've heard. These are real conversations, not like some ad that I'm seeing on TV about like a highlight reel, but like real live interactions. And, one of the things the reason why I got originally into, doing podcasts and talking about the industries, I wanted answers, right? Like I wanted answers. I was like, there's got to be answers to some of the questions that I have. And again, going back, like every restorer I feel has pretty much the exact same question. It's like, how do I get more of this? And how do I get more of that in the most efficient way possible? And like, look, I think that I'm really, really good at marketing. I think that I'm really good at marketing, but like pound for pound, and just like from a financial sense, like nothing else out there, I think you could do for your restoration business that is better than having that kind of a bolt on to your business, period.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we showed it to other people what it did to Icon. And we've
Yeah,
opened our
with the exit. Yeah. And I asked Rocky on his last episode that he was on, and I was like, and I asked him point blank, I was like, do you think that you would have gotten the number the exit that you would have gotten if it wasn't for one Tom.
For what?
He's
Yeah,
like, absolutely not.
he's right. He talks about that all the time and how thankful he was for coming out with one Tom Plumber and how much water mid he generated to Icon.
Hmm.
And that's the reason why he scaled not only the plumbing company to put it in a place where he can franchise that model because it works, also scale the restoration company because of the plumbing business he built.
Yeah.
Therefore, you scale it, you exit it. Look at Rocky. He's having the best time of his life. He's in Argentina right now. It's a shout out to my honorary uncle right there. He's one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my life. And he's built something unique that is dominating the market.
Yeah, and people love it, man. I mean, again, going back to how many so you signed 3 new franchises, you said, right? 3 new franchises at the expo. That's great and well, but that's like a small part of the story. The other part of the story is how many people got a pink plunger tattoo
Oh,
at the
God.
expo. Let's talk about that for a
Oh
second.
my goodness. I don't know. This always gets brought up. And a matter of fact, I was the first one to ever get a plunger tattoo. I'm not gonna tell you where, but I do have one. And yeah, but a lot of people.
I think it
It's
was it like 6 or like it was like 5 or 6
five or
at the
six.
expo.
They got in a car and they went to the two shop and they got a plunger. And that was like at a party that we were doing. But 2, 3 years ago, we brought a tattoo artist to our national convention and people were in line.
And by the way, whose genius idea was this? Where did it stem from?
That's Cameron.
That was Cameron.
That was Cameron.
That's great.
Rocky's son, if people don't know. But yeah, Cameron, like co-founder and one of the presidents of Tom Plumber. So genius idea. I don't regret it, but I remember like when he convinced me to do mine because it was prior to like doing all these national shows, and
Mhm.
we were in Morris, Tennessee. We're on the boat. We're just having a drink and just chit chatting. And he was, Alvaro, you need to get a Tom Plumber tattoo. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, that's not gonna happen. Like I don't know. Like I would never put a tattoo on my body. Like I don't care for them, but I just said I was not gonna do it. Last thing I know is I was drinking a mimosa with Cameron. And
there's
putting out,
always a mimosa somewhere.
putting down my pants and then just showing my left cheek, and I was all right.
I
Let's
thought
get
you
a
said you
plunge
weren't going to
tattoo.
tell us, and where it was at.
Never
Here we
mind.
go. Full disclosure, guys. You heard it
I,
here first.
I
That's
don't care at
absolutely
this
amazing.
point. No, I love it. It's hilarious. He's an amazing icebreaker.
Right. So, but it was funny, which is again going back to the culture, is like not only at the expo where there were several people just like being welcomed to the one Tom Plumber franchise, but then also just like the belief. There's one thing to like buy into something, and there's a whole other thing, at least for me, to having had, right, because you're actively in the thing, right? And these franchisees, these business owners that have now owned franchises for a while, they're like, I want to get a pink plunger tattoo. That to me, like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, show me what your body is doing. That to me is like the clearest indicator of like what they believe about the organization, what they feel about the family, what they feel about like what they are part of. Cause that to me is a bigger indicator than money, than stories, than anything else. It's like, dude, like really you're part of that. And that's how like people feel about it. It's like, yep. I mean, to me, that was like really, really cool to see that kind of action. So transitioning, man. So because obviously you're a busy guy, and I know that you got a million things to do. Let's talk about what should people do right now. If they're listening to this, they've probably heard so many of our podcasts or my podcast with one Tom on, and obviously I'm a huge fan. I'm constantly saying that. If they want to get like more information, they are considering this. What are like the last parting thoughts that maybe we didn't cover on this that you would love for them to know, and then how would they reach out to you?
Absolutely. So if you're considering about like, scaling your restoration company, doing another entrepreneurial projects, like adding plumbing to your business and go with one Tom Plumber. So just reach out to some of our franchisees. You can find them some of the podcasts we've done. We're in social media on our Instagram, ontomplumber.com. Look us up, do a little bit of research, learn more about us, learn more about the brand, and reach out directly to us. We'll tell you all about it, how we can put these systems in place and how we can help you out. So you want to go to onetpfranchise.com. That's our franchising website. You can just, surf the net for a little bit, check out our testimonials, and You can also find me at alvaro@onetoneplumber.com and send us an email. We'd love to talk to you.
And so for all of those listening, if you don't have a pen and a sheet of paper, don't worry about it. I got you covered. Just check the video description and or the show notes below, and I will have the contact information there with Alvaro's email if you want to reach out to him personally, and the franchising website if it's something that interests you. Again, obviously, I'm assuming that this is like a non-commitment thing. Again, it's so if the concept even makes the remote sense to you, just reach out, pick up the phone, have a conversation, and maybe get some additional information that we can't go ahead and talk about here. So that being said, Alvaro, any other additional parting thoughts? Something that you wish we would have covered that we didn't?
I mean, I feel like there's 1,000 things that you and I talk about every time we jump on the phone, but now I think this has been great. So thank you for having me. I love what you do, and
thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Awesome.
All right, Dominators. I will catch you guys on the next one. But till then, always remember, hustle, hack, dominate. See you guys later.
You've been listening to Restoration Domination, your #1 resource for tips, tricks, and hacks to help your business grow. Subscribe to our channel and follow us for more Restoration Domination. And follow our host at Rico Garcia Jr. on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Till next time, this is Restoration Domination. Hustle, hack, dominate.